Hey everyone, my name is Bryn Young and I am an architect here in beautiful San Diego. And first off, I just want to say I'm honored to be a part of all of you wonderful speakers, and it's just wonderful to have been asked to be here today. So thank you, and I am looking forward to talking all about ADUs. So I actually got into the whole ADU world really early on. I know that I was definitely, like everybody else in the design world and real estate world, was really watching the new law pretty closely. And I think it went into effect 2017. And I remember, being really excited about it. Okay, what to expect. And I had a client really early on was it doing the same thing, and they were like, let's do it. We've got a space. We've been wanting to do something just like this. Let's do it. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And for a new law, especially for one like this, there wasn't the resources that there are now, which is so wonderful. All the handbooks and everything that they have now, there wasn't that. And also the city officials didn't really know too much yet. So I remember one of my first meetings, I went down to the city. The homeowner and I had already worked through some schematic design, and I went down to the city, and it was like three different people told me three different things. And then we ended up getting a supervisor because we were talking about heights and setbacks, and there was just a lot of unknown. So in the beginning, it was a lot of learning as you go and trial and error. But first off, I'm just so happy that they have put something like this into place, because all over, I mean, the whole world, basically, we're overpopulated. So the whole world, we are dealing with housing issues, especially here in California, especially here in Southern California. So we are constantly trying to figure out how to accommodate that and accommodate all these people. So I think this is a really great asset for people to have. I think it's a way to not only provide more housing for all of these people, but also a way to provide homeowners with a pretty affordable way to get supplemental income. So I think it's a really great opportunity for a lot of people. What I also really like about ADUs from an architect point of view is I love the opportunity to create something really fun and unique, because you are dealing with something smaller. You're dealing with maybe something that's, in the backyard, and I have found that clients are more willing to have fun with it. So not only is that fun for the homeowner, because now you're not maybe daunted with the fact that the whole world is looking at this from the front, so you're maybe not willing to take some risks with it, but you're also willing to make a space for maybe yoga and meditation, or your office, or your music studio, and get creative with how that is designed. So I think that's a super fun part of it. I like to call them mullet houses, which, it's like business in the front that all the neighbors like, but then party in the back, you kind of design what you want. And, you want things to flow and integrate and everything like that. You can still just get creative and have fun with it. And I think that ADUs are the perfect opportunity to be able to do that. The other thing I love about ADUs is their flexibility. So kind of like I was saying earlier, is you can make a space that is a yoga studio. You can make a space that's an office. But if you need to, or you want to, in the beginning, you rent it out. But then if you don't want to rent it out anymore, you now have this awesome space in your property, or on your property, that you can utilize. So I think it's just altogether really awesome opportunity. With that said, there are some not drawbacks, but things that I have found that prevents clients from taking the leap into creating an ADU, because the cities, there's all these talks about city making it super easy, and they're helping with permit fees and streamlining. However, here on the coast, they are still required to go through coastal commission. So this can be a really big hindrance for a lot of homeowners, because basically you now have to go through the whole permit process to receive approval by coastal commission, which includes a lot of fees. Last time I checked, I think they had raised it to almost $14,000 just for them to review it. And typically the process takes 8+ months for them to review it. So when I have a client who is in the coastal commission and I have them interested in doing a design, of course I tell them, hey, before we even move forward, just so you know, this is still required in coastal. And I end up having a lot of homeowners decide either not to do it or to do a guest quarters instead, which takes out the ability to rent, takes out the cooking facilities, it takes out that supplemental income. So that is one of the still big hurdles that we are facing along the coast. At the same time, that makes sense. The coast is impacted. I personally don't necessarily think each house along the coast should have an ADU. I mean, it depends on the property. So I don't know if maybe, and this is maybe going off on a tangent, but I don't know if maybe there's certain parameters, like a certain site conditions along the coast that will allow it to be more accessible, but it still creates some sort of protection for that area. So I won't go too much more into that. I just wanted to kind of explain that is one of the things we are still facing. So there's a couple other things that will affect your design of an ADU, and this is probably knowledge that most realtors have, most designers have, but it's important for homeowners to have as well. And first and foremost, code and zoning regulations. So basically the Coastal Commission as one of those restrictions, or just code things to be aware of. And then just other, like your Florida area ratio, which we call FAR, and that is basically how much square footage you already have of your home and how that compares to your site. So as you probably know, with ADUs, you can go up to 1,200 square feet or 50% of the existing square footage, depending on what type of ADU you use and how it's organized and whatnot. But with that said, if your house is already almost maxed out its FAR limit, then you don't have any option. So this is a really important aspect. I've had clients before, potential clients say, oh, well, I can do 1,200 square feet. I'm like, well, actually, based on what your existing square footage is, based on your site, we really could only fit a 500 square foot unit. So this is something that's really important to look at basically like from the very beginning. And some other constraints, there's site constraints. So your setbacks, your existing structures. There are a lot of flexibility with setbacks with the ADUs, which is amazing. It's really great that they're allowing that. And with that, you can go in the setback. There are length limits and height limits. So if you do go in the setback, you can only go up 30 feet in length and then 15 feet in height if you are in the setback. So there's some of these parameters. And honestly, this is why it's so important to hire an architect, a professional, really from stage one, because it would be a shame to design this whole beautiful plan and then go to get permits and they say, nope, you can't do any of this. So that's why, especially in the beginning when I was going and working with the city to figure out what we can do, what we can't do, it was a lot of work because we were all kind of trying to figure it out. So now 3 years later, we've got a pretty good handle on it. Things are still morphing and changing and moving, but I think we're pretty good now. So other things that will affect the actual design of an ADU are things like access. So how is your potential renter going to be accessing the space, parking, minutia like that. So I'm not going to obviously get into the nitty gritty of all of that. I just kind of wanted to bring it to awareness of the fact that there are these restrictions that are really good to keep in the back of your mind when you are designing, or when you're hiring an architect, or when you're planning out what you want to do. I mean, I think it's great for, as a homeowner, to be sitting at home and come up with ideas. And so if you have kind of a general framework of what you can have, it helps you to envision what you want. So next, I want to talk to you about the value that architects bring to the process of designing and building your dream ADU. And also, this is for realtors and other people who have maybe people asking them about the process of ADU, so you can help answer these questions as well. So first, like I sort of briefed on earlier, is that the rules and the regulations are constantly morphing. They're not necessarily changing, but they're continuing to grow. They're continuing to hear feedback from, because again, this is fairly, now I guess it's not so new, but fairly new. So as it's going into place, people are starting to build, people are giving feedback, and then the code is morphing in the law. So this is why it's really important to have someone who is familiar with what's going on, has been in the process of doing this, so that they are able to give you these ideas without making you do a whole workaround. The other thing with ADUs, because usually they're in the back, or they're like an addition, or they're converting a space like a garage, there's a lot of site constraints. So whether that is not a whole lot of space in the backyard, for example, an architect can do a really good job of integrating this new building into the site in a seamless way. So make a great connection with the existing spaces, still allow a nice outdoor space, have that flow. All of that is still really important and needs to be considered thoughtfully. With that, because a lot of these footprints are small, it's really important to have a very efficient plan, not necessarily just sustainability wise, because that's of course important as well, but efficient in terms of space planning. You don't want to get a space that has a lot of hallways or missed opportunities for usable area. So having someone who is familiar with where the HVAC can go, how you can efficiently space your plumbing walls, that sort of thing will really give you value for such a compact space and allow you to have something beautiful, efficient, and not giant. So the other thing that's really great about a compact space is the opportunity for sustainable features. So it's really easy, well, I don't want to say really easy, but it's a lot easier to create an off-the-grid building if it's a compact space. So with that, I think integrating passive strategies from the very first sketch, meaning you are capturing natural daylighting, you are orienting the roof line to be able to put solar panels on it so that it's really grabbing as much sunlight as possible. You're including trees and natural shading devices. Even orientation of the building for all of these things, rainwater harvesting. I mean, the list goes on, but a small space is really cool to be able to integrate a lot of these passive strategies and design something that really is very beautifully sustainable. And in the end, in my opinion, a sustainable building will be beautiful as well because there's a lot of intention with it. It's not designed just because. It's designed based on the site, based on the sun, based on the wind, and all of these strategies come through. And even though if you're looking at this building and you're not necessarily knowing that, there's something about the essence of that building that will convey it, and it will instantly be a beautiful building. So I think it's really important to have someone, an architect or a professional who is very familiar with these strategies and with being able to implement these from the beginning. So not only is it really awesome to look at in your backyard or in your space, but you're also saving money because it's not consuming a lot of energy. So that's pretty much my gist on ADUs. I think they're, again, a wonderful opportunity to create something really awesome. I just finished up construction on a beautiful ADU that I'm really proud of. I implemented all these sort of concepts, the passive strategies, and it really makes a difference. It feels, it's only 500 square feet, yet it feels very expansive and light and airy. And I'm very proud. I won the AIA award for ADU last November. So I'm very excited about these opportunities to create these small, almost these small figures of design expression. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that this provided value to anyone, and I'm really excited to be a part of this group. I know that I already am learning a ton from all of you. So thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.